Well, well, well. Day is almost over, and I'm pretty beat up. Still working on the exhaust for the turbo. I almost have it to where it's going to come up and out and join the engine bay. This is the connector for the passenger and driver side to make one pipe. So it's the merge. I guess you can call it the merge connector, collector, whatever you like to call it. So there's that. I'm going to go over a couple of things on the car, just so everybody has an idea what's done to the car and what I'm going to do engine-wise to the car with the turbo. So let's start with the engine bay and then go from there to the brakes, to the wheels and tires, to maybe the hood and the wing, to what's inside the car. So that's what I'm working on currently. Let's talk about the car. I'm not going to go back underneath this thing until I have to, because I've already done that about 80 times today. So, engine. What's done to the engine? What isn't done to the engine? I'll tell you what isn't done. Almost everything. I have a throttle body and a aftermarket thermostat. That's it. Everything else is factory. No ported intake manifolds or plenums. Nothing crazy with the belt. It's all factory coil packs, factory spark plugs. It's just a ported throttle body and a 180-degree thermostat. I've also relocated the factory coolant reservoir tank. Normally sits right there to right here. I did that so I could have more room for the turbo. That is the only reason I did that. I would never suggest anybody ever do that because it was a pain in the ass. So yeah, there's that. Other than that, what I'm going to do to the engine after the turbo is I'm going to put aftermarket coil packs, injectors, and spark plugs in there. The throttle body is going to stay the same. Ripp Superchargers kindly will let me buy one of their charge pipes and coil packs. They're selling me the coil packs as well. That's also where I got the 180-degree thermostat, was from Ripp Superchargers. So half the engine has Ripp mod parts on it. And then I'm putting a turbo that's going to make probably the same amount of power as their supercharger kit. Just so you know, this is a 3.6 liter V6 Challenger. They have a kit from 2011 to 14 for about $6,000. They did not ask me to say that. I'm just letting you know. If you want power in your V6, that is a great way to go about it. They've done thousands of them. I probably would prefer that over a turbo, but I am stubborn and I wanted to go with a turbo. So that's what I'm doing. Other than that, let's just look at the wheels and tires and everything else in the car. I almost tripped over my own socket set. Okay, wheels. We have NT555 G2s. They're 285/35 20s on 20-inch by 10-inch wheels. These are Hellcat OE Creations replicas. They are in burnt bronze. You don't see them very often on any cars, and I just realized those are two different colors. Interesting. And then as you can see behind it, I have Hellcat SRT Brembo brakes. These are 6-piston Brembo brakes with their 2-piece rotors. The only way you can do this on a V6 Challenger is if you change out the knuckle of the car, so the caliper can actually mount to something, because it mounts to the knuckle on the factory SRTs. I did not do the rear brakes. The rear brakes are still factory V6 single piston, I think. Nothing fancy. I will eventually do the rear brakes, but you need to change the diff, the half shafts, the knuckles, and the wheel bearings for all of that, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm focusing on the turbo. Most of the braking happens in the front anyway. Other than that, you all already know about the Speedlogix ram air hood. I mentioned that in the last video. It has exhaust vents for the heat to dissipate through, because these engines like to run pretty hot. Plus the car it came off of was a race car, so that makes more sense. It also has aftermarket push-style hood pins. Those are billet aluminum. A buddy of mine in the car group I'm in made those. There's only that set in the set on his car, so good luck finding those anywhere else. You also have a Liberty Walk ducktail wing on the back of the car. That was also a pain to install because it's not perfect, doesn't come with tape, doesn't even come painted or smooth, so I had to have it sanded and then painted to match the factory. And then, as you can see, I have it riveted to the car, because that was the best way to keep this wing on there without it falling off for the third time. But there's that. I already went over the brakes and the tires and all that stuff, so let's go inside the car real quick and talk about what's been done here. Hello. So, these are not the factory seats that came in the car. When I bought this from the dealership that sold it to me, before I bought it, they put these seats in there. I guess the previous ones were covered in smoke. I'm not too sure. But these are the Rally Redline style seats. You'll see these in like the SXT Pluses or the Rally Redline V6s. They have red stitching and black leather in the back and in the front and on the center console. They're really nice. I really like them. They look brand new because they only have about 40 to 60,000 miles on the car since those seats have been in there. The car has about 120,000 miles on it though, so there's that. And the engine has about 55,000 miles on it, so there's that. It blew up after I bought it. It was under warranty. That's the end of that discussion. Other than that, I have suede, black suede with starlights. A good friend of mine, Austin Strain Designs. I think or Austin Strain Lighting. He helped me put these in. He's a great friend of mine. Love him to death. I just wish he still lived in Texas. So yeah, we have that. We also have 2 electronic modules in the car to help me with line lock and stability control. So there's a button I can hold down when I'm not moving, and it'll activate line lock. So only the front brakes get activated and the rear ones stay loose so the tires are easier to spin. Even though this car, I think, only spins 1 tire. But there's that. And then I also have a module in the transmission to help me completely disengage stability and traction control. So if I ever go on the track, I could turn that off and just, I guess, go around the track a bit better. But that's pretty much it. That's all that's been done to the car. I told you about what I'm going to do to the car, and who's helping support my build is a supercharger company, Ripp Superchargers. Again, thank you for supplying the coil packs and the coil packs and the charge pipe for the intercooler. I already have the intercooler, but they're supplying everything piping wise. So that's awesome. I love those guys. Love their videos. You should check them out. RippSuperchargers.com or RippMods.com. They also have a YouTube channel called Ripp Superchargers. They have a 2012 Dodge Challenger just like mine in black, where they put a supercharger on it. It makes like 450 horsepower to the wheels. It's pretty crazy. I hope to make that, if not just a hair more, because I'm not going to have the parasitic loss of a supercharger. But other than that, I'm only going to be pushing 10 PSI, so I don't want to overstrain the engine. I've already blown it up once, don't need to do it again. And but yeah, that's everything that's done to the car, everything that's going to be done to the car, and what I'm currently still working on with the turbo setup. So I'm going to get back to this pipe, hopefully finish it tonight, and then I'll get started on the pipe that comes into the engine bay and go from there to the turbo. So yeah, next video will probably not be for another week or so because of work. I won't be able to work on it. So yeah, hope you'll have a good day. If you have any questions, ask me, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. Thank you. See ya.